I gotta pull up the agenda still. Hey, here we go.
Hey, we're live.
We're live?
Live.
Is it working? Hang on, let me look at the stream. Confirm this. Because this is TBK doing this stuff today, you guys.
Yeah. This is...
Yeah, I just unmuted us on the stream. I can hear us. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Well job, as they say. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, still no Gizmo because he's super freaking lame.
Well, he had a plane cancellation.
Nope,
I don't know how that works.
lame.
Wait, what happened?
No, I'm just saying he's super lame.
Oh yeah, okay, so, sure. I thought we were going to go with that he was from another dimension now.
Yes, he's in another dimension now.
In another dimension,
Yep,
yeah.
Totally in another dimension.
Let's mention that for sure, because that's important.
Okay. Got my recording running. Got the stuff running.
Oh, I'm pulling up my links.
Oh my gosh.
Links. Actually, there aren't a lot this week. This is going to be a pretty light week. It's good.
So much production
Except
things.
for the... Yeah.
You say it's going to be a light week, and then it's not going to be.
Never is, yeah.
No, it's not.
True story.
Yeah, we are currently looking for a third host because Gizmo's lame and stuck in another dimension.
Ooh, Corzord's signing up.
There you go.
He's a content creator.
There you go.
Potentials are solid.
So hopefully all this stuff works, guys. I'm pre-apologizing ahead of time in case it doesn't. I'm going to try my mic mute real fast. So I'm going to keep talking, but you're not going to be able to hear me.
Word.
Couldn't hear a thing, right?
Nope.
Not a thing. Awesome.
Well, see, the trick is, like, I could have never heard what you said, but, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's been so long since I've done this, and it's much more complicated to do this show than it is just like a regular stream. So.
I believe it.
Okay.
I don't really know a lot of the technical stuff behind it, but we need to, I know we need to meet about this offline, but we need to condense all these skills we have.
I know.
I spelled skills right there with a Z at the end, if you were wondering.
Skills.
Skills.
Okay. How was Cavalry 100?
Oh, it was awesome.
It was awesome?
Yep, had a good time. It was a shorter show, but like at one point, Slambo had put together a supercut from previous episodes.
Yeah.
And I don't need to tell you that was a good time.
It was incredible.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to grab it and listen to it for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Well, let me pull up my agenda, and I think we are ready. We'll give it just a small bit of space for the sounder, which, of course, will not be playing because I'm not that cool, guys. Let's just be honest. I don't have sweet soundboards. So eventually I will have sweet soundboards. But not today. Today is not that day.
Word.
Okay, here we go. You ready, Multi?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 147 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you. That's right. The true Heroes of the Storm. Wow, that whole thing, I just lost my entire train of thought while I was winking.
Stick with it.
At the audience on audio.
That's quite the wink. That's actually how you know a wink is good, is when you just can't think of anything other than the wink.
That's right. So
I think that's fine.
You're welcome, guys. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about hero stuff. Need I say more? I also have Multizord with me. So say hi, Multi. Excited that you're here.
Hi, guys. Yes. I'm excited I'm here, too. Actually, I just got done with the Cavalry episode 100. Just 5 minutes ago.
That's a big congrats to them. That's a big milestone.
Yeah.
The big 100. Yeah.
That's right. Triple digits. Absolutely. So, no, it was a good time. Just kind of reminiscing about the show. I definitely recommend you guys go back and check it out just because, in part, Slambo put together the supercut of previous episodes, and you get kind of a taste of how ridiculous the show's been the entire time. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like there, at the time especially, there were a ton of these just flavorful Overwatch podcasts out there, and we just stuck to our own flavor. And I think they kept it even after I left. So it's a good time. If you guys haven't checked it out, shameless plug, shameless, The Cavalry, for sure.
So you know who's not excited that he's not here?
Oh, who?
Gizmo. He's trapped in another dimension.
Yeah. You said that earlier.
He has been for weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't even know where he is right now.
I actually do. I think he's on the PTR, and there's no way to have him carry over back into the regular lives.
Yes.
Where we are.
Yes.
So,
yes, maybe,
but don't worry, guys.
Maybe we should go play a few games and earn the gems to get him back, which means that'll only take a few days to get 3 games in, right? On the PTR.
No, it won't be too bad. And when he does come back, I expect there to be a full overhaul, and like he's going to have an entire new talent set, which means probably he's going to be a carpenter or a pianist or something, right? So
yeah.
It's going to happen.
Oh, I love where you went with that. That was good.
Thank you.
So before we jump into the show, let's talk about a little bit what we did in gaming. I was on the PTR this week, so that was a lot of fun. Played some heroes this weekend. The Brawl, which I don't actually have in the agenda to talk about, but I'll talk about it now because really unique, super cool, nice and short. I really liked it. So basically, you go in, everyone is the same hero. It's just this little arena area, and it's just a death match. And sometimes an objective spawns, sometimes it doesn't. But the objective will help you out, of course, in defeating the enemy team, and it was really fun.
I liked it quite a bit. You know, I liked that the objectives played into it and that they were different. So you had to kind of react to. I think it was super simple, but the one where there was the little area in the center, the square that you had to stand in or else take a ton of damage. Like, that was just cool to have, like, because, you know, people are feeling out the edges of a fight, trying to flank, do all this other stuff. And then to have a moment where it's like, oh, we have to collapse on this point or we're dead was
like
the
little lightning
yeah
stuff. Yeah, that
lightning would strike on the outside.
And it was cool because if the game started lasting too long, it would ramp up. And the damage from the objective started going up. You would start getting, like, decreased armor. And, yeah,
I think that was to kind of combat against... Because I did have a few games where, like, it would come down to 1 or 2 people left on the clearly losing side. Like, it's now 5v1.
Yeah.
And then the dude just runs forever.
Grabbing the health packs and stuff.
Yeah, grabbing the health packs and being on a kind of mobile character that can run anyway. That kind of drove me crazy a couple times, but
or the All-Muradin game I was in.
You had All Kerrigan?
Oh, Muradin.
Muradin. Oh,
Muradin. Yeah, that one.
Oh boy,
took a little while.
Just hammers everywhere.
There was definitely negative 75 armor in that game. So yeah, it was good.
I'll bet.
So what have you been up to this week, Multi?
I mean, I got those in for sure. I actually enjoyed them. I know not everyone did. I remember seeing on even a couple of chats in game, people were talking about how much they didn't like that Brawl. I mean, it was fast, whatever, it's fine. But otherwise, I've been playing some. I didn't get any more Hero League in really, just because, and I'll be honest with you, I'm just so sleep deprived these days. I don't want to play suboptimally and ruin my placement games when I haven't had like more than 4 hours of sleep. You understand? So. I do. But yeah, for sure. But I do want to take this moment to talk to you at least really quickly. I'm not going to harp on this for very long, but there is a new MOBA that's come out, at least in NA on mobile, called Arena of Valor that I know we've all at least dipped our toes in to kind of see what it's like. And I mean, I don't want to belabor the point too much because obviously this is a Heroes show. And honestly, obviously Heroes is the way better game in general. But I have a question for you, TBK, and I think you're the perfect person to ask this to. Just because of how ingrained in the Heroes community you are. So, okay, it's a game that's a lot more like League of Legends than it is Heroes. It's kind of like that Mobile Legends we've talked about a couple times, but better for sure. But unlike Mobile Legends, you know, we had talked on this show previously about how there were a couple characters in there that were questionably taken from Heroes, such as a Panda that had a barrel ultimate. Wonder where
Yep.
they got that
Yeah,
idea
yeah, yeah.
from, right? So I don't think this game is as egregious in that, but there are still some things. So like when you finish a game, you do have an upvote system, just like it is here. It's a little different. You can't vote for yourself, which who else would I vote for, right? But the other thing that kind of irked me was they had over this past weekend. They didn't call it a brawl, but it was basically just a weekend only deal where you played as some random heroes, but they gave them all the ability to hook each other over a chasm and kill each other on that other side, much like Pool Party or Pull Party, whatever you want to call it. So I guess my question to you, TBK, here is just simply like what of these features are something that we can just attribute to all MOBAs moving forward because they're good ideas, or what of these are kind of like upsetting you? Like, do you feel like you've been robbed? Did they try to steal Pool Party?
Oh, I don't know. Like, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, they say.
That is true.
And
Okay.
so when you see a game that is imitating other games, that usually means that the original game is doing something right. Right? We've actually seen this, and I don't know if we can directly attribute it to Heroes or not, but I feel like at least in some way we can. We've seen this both from Dota and League of Legends.
True.
As Dota got a talent system, they made lots of efforts to make their game shorter. League redid a lot of their systems. They have like mercenaries, like capturable mercenaries now, if I understand right. They've done some stuff to make their games somewhat shorter as well. And so I don't know. And none of these things happened before Heroes came out. These are all
Right.
in a post Heroes world. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I can directly attribute that, but it does feel like Heroes cutting a lot of the fat, I guess, out of MOBAs has really made a direct impact on other MOBA games, whether they would admit to it or not.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that for sure because obviously, just in general, the sharing of good ideas and improving games across the board is something I support. But my question for you then is, so where's the line? Like, is the Panda in Mobile Legends over the line for you? Because it kind of is for me. Like that's
Well,
too much, man.
I mean, the line for me, I really don't care about the line, to be
Fair
honest.
point.
Like
But Blizzard does.
that's
I guarantee
exactly
you
it.
that.
They care about the line. So the line
Hmm.
is where Blizzard draws it. When
Good point.
Blizzard looks at another game and says, "Hold on, that is copyright infringement." That's the line.
Fair
that
point.
is the line. And it's less. You see that a lot more in China, and that's a lot why you see a lot of games that like pull in League of Legends stuff or
Oh, there's
World
a
of
ton of
Ships or
knockoffs out
Heroes
there.
of the
Yeah.
Storm or Dota or all sorts of things. They pull those in. There's a lot looser copyright stuff in China, and so it's more if they do come over here, it's more on the game company to go in and like lawyers raised and say you better take that out or you better pay us money.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So we'll
Yeah,
see how that all shakes out, but
yeah.
I don't know. I just
So
thought it was an interesting thing.
yeah, it is. It is a really interesting thing because it's happened a lot. It does happen quite a bit, and you only hear about big game companies going after these every so often. So possibly they don't care, or possibly they can't due to weird copyright stuff in China, or in some cases they're probably unaware. So
Yeah.
it is kind of interesting to
Or
think
maybe there's
about.
just not the legal grounds for it or something. There could be any number of
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
You
I'm
know?
not sure. That'd be
It's like,
interesting to talk to a copyright lawyer for games.
there you go. Let's have one of those on as a
I'm sure.
guest.
I'm sure there is one.
People would love that.
Yeah.
No
Uh,
offense to all the copyright lawyers that are listening right now.
no, we love you.
Yes.
Lawyers,
We're not breaking any laws ourselves.
lawyers can be good. There are some awesome lawyers. There's some awesome video game lawyers too, who are helping out our inexperienced esports people to better
Indeed.
contracts. So, good job for you guys.
We need those.
Patron updates. Thank you very much, Jeff N, for becoming a Lords of the Storm patron. We love you all our patrons. You are so awesome. We really appreciate all that you do to help us do all that we do. We could not do it without you. I mean, we technically could, but it'd be a lot harder. Like, a heck of a lot harder. And so we appreciate each and every one of you.
Absolutely.
We'd probably keep doing this show if like 5 people listened and we were losing money on it just because we really like doing it.
Absolutely. But I mean, the fact that people take the time and money to help out, like, still just kind of blows me away. So we just genuinely appreciate it. Like, I don't know how to sound more genuine. I know. Maybe I'm not good at that.
Patrons are 5-star iTunes people, and our people who leave reviews. You the real MVP.
Yeah, you're skipping too far ahead in the show though. We got like patch notes and stuff, man. That's closing material.
I can be thankful wherever I want, Multi. Fine. On to the news. Winter's Veil. It's almost done. The snow has almost stopped falling. The sun is coming back out. Not in Kansas City because it's like -6 degrees here, but everywhere else maybe. And it will be ending on January 9th. So if you do not have the winter skins that you want, be sure to get grinding on those loot boxes, or go ahead and purchase those skins that you want with shards, because they will be leaving the store very soon.
Yeah, I think all I really want left is I need one of the Vala ones for sure. I'm pretty good otherwise. I still actually need the gingerbread cookie mount. That is a must, but
you don't have that one yet?
I still don't have that one.
Oh, no. I
mean, I'm doing what I consider to be the intelligent thing and waiting toward the end to where, like, I just see what all I've unwrapped before I make any rash decisions with my shards and that sort of thing. So you know, I'm hanging out, but the one I wish I could get is definitely that fruitcake ginger dread Nazebo, the pink one.
Yes. I actually got that in a loot box.
Well, that's lucky because I think it's 2,400 shards. They upped it because it's the newer tint. And
I know the Vala ones are 2,400.
Are they? Oh,
the Malfurion,
okay. I have to unwrap.
And I know the Malfurion one is 600, and I think the Karazim and Malthael ones are 150.
Malfurion has to be 1,600, right?
No, he's 600.
Just straight 600?
Yeah.
Okay. I did pick that one up. You'd think I'd remember, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's an epic skin, I think.
It's a really good skin for an epic, so...
It is an awesome skin. So I made sure I've got at least one of each now, and I've got at least one gingerbread. I need to go back and buy, like, sprays or portraits that I still want. But those are fairly cheap shard-wise.
Right.
But I may be saving most of my shards, because guess what, Multi? A new in development video came out, and I swear to all that is good, someone must have listened to Lords of the Storm last episode, heard me say Mecca, and said, release the floodgates, or release the Kraken, which is a Mecca Kraken, because there's so many Mecca skins coming soon.
Oh no, it's so good too. And you have to consider Blaze himself is Mecca, and he has a Mecca skin.
He's got a Fell Reaver skin.
Yeah, we literally just last episode called for a not only more Mecca skins but more crossovers between the IPs, and that is both.
Yep,
that is both.
Yeah, it's
not
amazing.
that I really do believe they heard that and then just jumped right on it, because
I believe
production for some time.
Totally
really?
Believe
okay.
it. I bet they were just waiting, and they heard it, and they're like, well, we've got these Mecca skins waiting in the wing. Let's do it. Let's just do it right now. I'm sure that was exactly their mindset.
It's possible.
No question.
Never know.
But yeah, we got Blaze coming. He's got a sweet Fell Reaver skin. We have literally Gundam Tyrael, which is incredible. And I asked about this on Twitter, because one of the animators was showing off some of the stuff, and I asked about it on Twitter. Apparently, Tyrael will have some sort of mecha mount form.
Ooh, like
the Tassadar?
Like
yeah. So I'm
sold now.
So that makes me super happy.
That was the one I didn't love. But I'm sold now. And so these are going to go into just the regular cycle, right? These aren't part of any sort of event. They can
Yes.
just come up in any regular loot chest at any time. See, I think that's a super smart call. Actually, Overwatch just had a recent like New Year's developer update where they were talking about adding some new content to their regular cycle too. I like that here too because I mean, there comes a point where if you've unlocked most everything you really want out of the just regular loot chests, that yes, events are exciting for sure, but having more content between them is great too, and I'd like seeing them do this for sure.
Sure. And
Especially
we've
skins
just
we
come
really
off
want like
of
these.
an event heavy season too.
Exactly.
So
It was
this
the
is
holiday.
good. Yeah, this is good. But all these skins have completely custom effects. Like all these new skins look like epic and up type skins.
Oh yeah.
We have a Rhaegar with a robot wolf form. We have
Here's
the
the
Tyrael.
thing about that. No. Gotta
Okay,
cut you
go,
off.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Super weird that the wolf form wasn't in the video, wasn't it?
I don't think Tyrael mount or wolf form were actually in the video.
Super weird. Like
Maybe
we
they were
saw
still finishing them up or something.
maybe we saw PTR images of it in the Discord shortly after, and I was just sitting there going, "Well, that's awesome. Why wasn't
Yeah.
that front and center?" So I don't know.
So cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
So they got custom hearth animations. They've got custom spell effects. So there's a Rhaegar wolf form, Tyrael with some sort of like robot mount form, and then an Abathur that just looks incredible. He's got custom locusts, like custom little sleepy time cocoon thing. I
the
no
skin itself
words.
is really cool.
It's just so
Not
cool.
that you see it much, but yeah, yeah. No, it's really cool.
Yeah. So
I'm sold.
they have literally made my dream come true this patch. I got my Rhaegar, I got a Tyrael, I got an Abathur. Not that I play Abathur much, but I'll probably buy the skin just so I can use it when I play Abathur. Now all I need is my Mecca Varian. Please, Blizz.
Could happen.
Mecca Varian.
They also made Gizmo's dreams come true with Blaze, just
They
in general.
did.
So,
They did.
yep. And that kit, by the way, I know we're going to talk about that in a second, but looks cool.
It plays cool as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, since we're talking about it, let's just hop in. PTR came out on Tuesday, I believe, since Monday was New Year's. And it came with it wasn't a huge PTR, but it did come with the newest hero, Blaze, the Fire Bat. He's got a pretty sweet kit. I'll run through it real fast, and then did you get a chance to try him out a little bit?
Not yet. I hopped on. I did a Malf game because I just
good.
had to. I'm a former
Sure.
Malf main.
Sure.
I actually played a quick match with him. It was
good.
worth the wait. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to yet, but I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say about him. So yeah, go for it.
So his trait is Pyromania. You gain 25 armor and deal 40 damage to nearby enemies every 0.5 seconds for 4 seconds, and then each hero hit by that flame stream reduces Pyromania's cooldown by 5 seconds. So that's
So
pretty
what's
cool.
the flame stream?
Oh, the flame stream is his Q. You fire 2 streams of flame. That's cool.
Wait. It's called Flame Stream, and you fire 2 of them. So why is it not called Flame Streams?
Ah, good question. They should probably change that immediately.
It's going to be the episode title and the main focus of the rest of the episode. Anyway, continue.
So, Flame Stream sets fire to oil spills it comes into contact with. What are oil spills? Oil spills
I love this. I love these segues, by the way.
are
Keep
his
going.
W. It has vector targeting. I love that it points this out because vector targeting is pretty cool. You dispense a slick of oil that lasts for 5 seconds. It slows enemies that come into contact with it by 40%. Flame Stream can set oil spills on fire for 2.5 seconds, dealing damage to the enemies inside. While on fire, oil spills no longer slow enemies, but they heal Blaze for health every 0.3 seconds while he's standing in the flaming oil spill, and there's 2 charges of this.
Yep.
So
and I love,
this is the
I love
one
the point.
time you stand in the fire.
I was about to say I loved that line in the hero spotlight.
Yes. It's the one time you
Very
stand in the
good.
fire. It's so good. His E is jet propulsion. After a half a second, you're going to charge forward, colliding with the first enemy hero hit, dealing 52 damage to them and nearby enemy heroes. Enemies hit are also stunned for 1.25 seconds. And so this one was kind of interesting because it's not like a point and click. You don't choose a target. You just choose a direction, and you just go for your set distance. And if you collide with any enemy hero, you stop.
And it's heroes, which is key. I mean, you're
Yes,
not
it is heroes.
trying to dodge around minion waves or anything, which that'll be nice, actually. It's a good initiation.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. His heroics, and this one is really sweet. This is a very unique heroic for heroes. Bunker drop. So after 0.5 seconds, you deploy and enter a bunker with 1300 health. Blaze and his allies can enter and exit the bunker at will. While in the bunker, occupants gain access to Flamethrower, which deals damage to enemies in a line. Exiting the bunker grants 25 armor for 2 seconds. Bunkers last 10 seconds or until destroyed. So this was a little confusing until I actually tried it out. So basically, you activate bunker, it drops right on you. And you go.
And so you're in the bunker as soon as you hit R.
Straight into it.
Gotcha.
After that 0.5 second deploy time. You get one key, which is this decently long range but fairly thin flamethrower, but you can get more people in and get more flamethrowers shooting out, which is pretty cool. Also, going in to the bunker will clear all status effects on you. So that means if you've been poisoned or slowed or anything like that, as far as I'm aware, it clears all those status effect type stuff.
You wonder what it does to like Pyroblast. Anyway, there's a bunch of testing to be done with this for sure. But super awesome flavor from StarCraft. Specifically StarCraft 1. I love it for that.
So cool.
Yeah.
And this is props to Kyle Ferguson, because I saw this on his stream in a little clip. You cannot take mercenary camps while you are in the bunker. The bunker does not count as a unit, and you do not count as a capturing unit while you are in the bunker.
Oh, so you can't just sit there.
Exactly. Which makes a lot of sense. So he had just showed a clip of himself. He dropped the bunker right on this the giant mercenary camp he had just done. He was just sitting in it and seeing that it didn't actually capture, and an enemy Kael'thas just walked up and grabbed it and walked away.
You could still do stuff. I've got to think that you could put like 3 heroes in and leave the 2 tankiest ones out, or a tank and a healer. There's stuff you could do. There's totally stuff I'm glad that that's not one of the things.
Also, you can exit the bunker from any direction, which is really cool
key.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to, if you go in the front, you don't have to exit out the front. You can, whatever direction you click out, your character will come out that way.
So it counters wombo combos. It's defensive and offensive for the entire team. I'm starting to wonder why we would ever take the other one.
This one's pretty cool, though. It's called Combustion. So you channel for up to 2.6 seconds. Once channeling ends, nearby enemy heroes are slowed, or nearby enemies are slowed by 60% and take damage for every 0.5 seconds channeled. Combustion's slow and damage over time durations are extended the longer blaze channels from 1 second up to 5 seconds.
Which is good.
This is just worded really weird.
It is a little bit, but it's the next point that kind of
extended line. Oh, okay. So that's just extended. The time that you are, the slow and the damage over time are just extended, so they would last a little longer even after the channeling was complete. Okay, that makes sense.
Or burning.
Yes,
presumably.
Blaze's movement speed is reduced by 50% while channeling, so keep that in mind. The channel, it is a fairly large area, though. It's a pretty big area.
Good. So it's better than like Bunny Hop.
It is a mass CC of sorts, because 60% is a pretty big deal, plus taking damage and then damage over time afterwards. So it's a pretty cool deal. So let's talk about him a little bit. I gotta try him out a bit. He's very tanky, and he's a warrior. And just reading this kit tells me, and his talents do as well. He has a very, very cool talent tree, very well designed talent tree, especially for a tank. And so I feel like he should be able to solo tank, but he will also be able to be a bruiser slash solo laner, depending on how you build him.
Yep.
So
Which, I
I
mean, the
really like
solo
it.
lane point alone is a selling point to me.
Oh yeah,
Like, I've been looking for another tank that has good wave clear that isn't just like the Haka or
yeah.
something.
You got
So,
Flamestream. You got an oil slick you can throw down over minion clusters. Light that on fire. Get the Flamestream damage as well. He's got pretty good clear as far as minions go. He's got pretty much all the tools you would want in a tank. He's got the oil to slow people. He's got the charge and stun, an actual hard CC.
right.
He does not have much mobility or much escape. Like
I don't
you,
know about that, dude. I mean, the game I played in obviously had a blaze on either side, and they were occasionally using jet propulsion as an escape.
you can body
Seemed
block
fine.
it though,
Well, yeah, but
because it will any hero hit by it will stop it dead. So unless
if
you
you're
have
fully
a
retreating,
clear line to shoot out to retreat, yeah, I mean if you're ahead of everybody, sure, you can use that to retreat. If
I'm just
you're
saying it was
actually,
fairly common.
you cannot actually use it if you're boxed in though to retreat out.
I'm just saying it was fairly common. Like, I mean, your standard group fight breaks out, doesn't turn out great. They just turned and ran. There was no one behind him. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Mhm.
Like if someone is body blocking him though, you can't jet propulsion out.
Well, right. It's probably going to be one of those things where, like, obviously it's a great initiation, but a lot of the laning phase you're going to hold on to in case you need the escape, and it's going to be one of those
because
things.
it's not a super short cooldown.
Right.
So it's not something you're just gonna want to use constantly. It's gonna be, it is like you said, a very good initiation.
Yeah.
So that'll be really interesting. So I'm super looking forward to him. He seems like he's going to be a ton of fun. I love warriors. I haven't really gotten a good warrior for quite a while. Garrosh was a lot of fun. Then they changed how his Q worked, and that kind of took away some of the synergy from his kit. Not that he's like horrible by any means,
Right.
but his kit lost a lot of synergy, which really kind of
That it did.
sucks. And so I don't know. We'll have to see, but he seems like somebody I will be playing a lot. Very, very excited for him. And I am guessing from what little I've played of him that he will be able to solo tank. But we'll see what happens when the pros get a hold of him. Battlegrounds. Battlefield of Eternity. The minimap will now indicate upcoming Immortal spawn locations 30 seconds after the game begins. So that's cool. Subsequent Immortal indicators will appear on the minimap shortly after the summoned Immortal has been defeated. So this is just more of that precursor type stuff that they added into most of the other maps. Swap locations will not appear on the minimap when an Immortal has been reduced to 50% health though. So that's still a little up for grabs, but you'll know the initial spawns. So that's kind of nice, and it just kind of brings it up to date with the rest. They updated the Dodge Brawl, Heroes Brawl. That's the one where Chromies just shooting at each other. You get 5 Chromie health instead of 3. Ghost Chromies now display player names overhead, and the in-game camera will now lock to Ghost Chromie until a new round begins. So,
Which means that one's coming back. I liked it.
yeah, I did really like it. It wasn't quite as fun as the pool party, but it was still really good.
Right.
And interestingly enough, Battleground rotation for rank play has not been changed. So yay
That
for
is
them!
interesting.
Yay for them actually keeping a Battleground rotation around a little bit longer. I hope to see that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, and I don't think anyone was expecting this, Malfurion got yet again another rework.
A huge one. And can I take it from here?
Yeah, go ahead. This one's a doozy.
Because Melf's kind of my baby, and there's a lot to unpack here. I'm definitely not going to read it off number by number. We'll have the link in the show notes for the PTR patch notes. It'll break it down for you a little bit better. But to boil it down for you guys a little bit, so it's a different approach to Malf that we really haven't seen before. And I didn't know this until I played that game, that quick match I was talking about, because if you read it on paper, you don't really get what's going on here. So there's things like regrowth, mana cost reduction. The heal amount is down, doesn't have an initial heal effect, which feels kind of weird. And then The duration, though, has been increased from 15 to 20 seconds, which, okay, so when I first read these patch notes, I read that and I was like, okay, so some buffing, some nerfing, like where are they going with this? It's not really until you get down to Moonfire, which is, again, mana cost reduction, damage reduction, but for every enemy hero hit with Moonfire, instantly heal all targets with an active regrowth for 140. So you start to see the picture. And the key on this, honestly, and I'll go over the other stuff in a second here, but the key is the length of the Q. The regrowth extra length is what he's all about now.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. And because of that...
Forever in Heroes terms.
And the cooldown on it, I don't know off the top of my head, but the cooldown on actually casting your Qs enables you to get at least 3, if not 4 of these off at a time. Like, obviously you have to stagger them, you have to wait on the cooldowns. But it's up on a good chunk of your team now. And they actually build off of that down the road. So there were some changes to... okay, well, all right, there's a huge one. Entangling Roots no longer affects non-heroic targets, which I thought I would hate.
That's a pretty big change.
That's huge. That's his wave clear. I mean, you never really wanted to use it for wave clear. You did in many moments because you just had the time or needed to. But, so there is that. That's kind of a negative. But, and then, okay, I'll talk about Tranquility. They're trying to sell it to us a little bit more they reduce the duration, cooldown, and mana cost, but then added it to where all heroes with an active regrowth gain 10 armor when in range, which, I tried it out. It actually felt pretty good because, you're getting the healing from Tranquility, you're getting the healing from your Q, and they've got 10 armor. Like, the 10 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's, I don't know, we won that game pretty handily. People didn't die when I had Tranquility up, so shrug. But anyway, so that's kind of building off this whole concept of the regrowth is just up on more heroes at any given time. And so Blizzard took that concept and then went crazy with it as you go. So there's things like, there's a new talent at level 1, Nature's Swiftness. Malfurion passively gains 5% movement speed for each active regrowth. So you're clocking in at a good 15 regularly as long as you've got the mana for it. And on a hero that doesn't really have any escapes, pretty good because it helps you land your Moonfires and get more out of your healing, as well as just general harass and getting the proper roots off and stuff. I actually really liked it. And then as you move on, so they did a bunch of different changes. Again, I'm not going to hit what all they moved from the different zones and that sort of thing. There's some new quest talents that are really interesting. But the one I definitely want to point out to you guys is Nature's Cure. Did you see this one, TBK?
I did.
So
there's
it's an
a lot of
activatable
new talents, honestly.
There is, but this one goes back to our cleanse discussion. So they had taken it off from him, and we were like, oh, rip Malf, right? And Blizzard's general approach has been, we kind of want to stray away from the cleanse talents, unless they're hero-specific maybe, and this one is. So you activate it to remove all stuns, roots, and slows from allies with an active regrowth. So you can get it on 3 people. Pretty easy.
Yeah, that's
rip ETC.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. That is insane because these are 20-second heals. So you throw a heal on a person at the beginning of a team fight, or throw 2 heals around, and you're pretty set because you can usually have a pretty good idea who the priority targets are going to be. Yep.
And here's the other thing. I'm not listing them all off, but there are a ton of talents that help actually extend the length even further of your Q. Like the healing time lasts longer with several of these.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. So
so it's super fun.
I
really like it too. I think he's a totally different healer in general. Not totally, okay, but he feels different enough that it feels like it's a niche that wasn't filled before, even by him. It's weird, but I love it.
Yeah, that's great. How did it feel while you were playing the quick match on the PTR?
Super strong, just in general. I mean, we did win pretty handily, so maybe that played into it. But the one trick was it was a little tough to really track who I was healing, only because now there's dogs, babies and dogs in the background. Apologies, guys.
It happens.
I know. Life, I guess.
Yep, life.
Whatever. Anyway, so no, the cool thing about it is because the heal time is so long on it, it honestly just kind of looks like they've drank from a health fountain. And if they have drank from a health fountain, they're both ticking. And so there's kind of an awkwardness there of like, there's a really tiny icon just underneath their nameplate that shows just a little leaf to tell you that you have an active one on them. What I would like to see is a bit more information about how long that's actually going to last, especially in that instance I was talking about.
As well.
Yeah, it's super
I would
awkward.
like to see like that little tick bar go down. Not that you have to have an exact number on it, but just so you could kind of gauge a little bit more.
Yeah, kind of like
it was about out. Yeah,
because it is hard
like
to keep track of.
Stukov's thing a little bit.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like Stukov's. Just really small, or maybe it starts to fade as it gets near the end or something. Just to think about your uptime, because that's honestly how you play them now, is manage your uptime, who you've got it on and when. And then I haven't said it specifically, but I love the fact that you get extra healing out of the Moonfire. Like there's more of a reason to Moonfire spam than there was before because you're getting genuine heals from it. And it's not a lot, but it's enough to keep people up that otherwise wouldn't have been. Pretty regularly. So.
Yeah, no. It feels like they made his kit much more synergistic. Like he just between his abilities, it all just is much more cohesive than it used to be. Which I kind of like that shift in some ways, although he probably lost a lot of his damage build that he used to have.
There's that.
So that could be a little disappointing to some people. Maybe
never did a ton.
Maybe in some, well, he did for a little bit.
Yeah, okay, sure. There were times, but
yeah, maybe in some ways they're kind of turning him into that heal over time healer, and I don't know, condensing his druidic stuff to make room for another type of druid.
Ooh, possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I don't know.
I will say this,
like
though.
A feral druid multi-class, Blizzard.
Could be cool. Yep. I will say this, though. Because the fear with supports, as always, is just that they're going to turn into heal bots. But despite the fact that it gives extra healing, that Moonfire makes him not one. Like, you have something active you could be doing every second of the game, unless you're out of mana, in which case you've been very active.
Yep.
So.
No, I can't wait to try him out. It's gonna be really interesting, but it is it will introduce, I think, a very unique form of healer, kind of Stukov-ish, but much more so.
Yeah,
because a lot of your other abilities will interact with that heal over time. So, and I know some people hate to see this, but his skill floor and skill cap have probably both gone up because of this.
But that's okay. He's super fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is fine. It's really cool. I love that they do that to allow more mastery into a hero. We just got to be careful to make sure that there are still heroes that are accessible to people who need simpler heroes.
Just always keep Lily in the game. That's done.
Yeah, and I love that Malfurion is on the third rework, and poor Raynor is just sitting in the corner going, "Hi guys, I'm still here."
You guys remember the tutorial?
Yeah,
it was pretty fun, right?
Yeah, I was pretty cool.
That time
back
I shot
then.
Diablo. That's actually Satan. That's the devil.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I killed him.
It's
good.
Pretty good. Not everyone's done that.
Johanna also got a tiny little thing. Johanna can no longer take damage or be targeted while initially casting Falling Sword. I assume this will just make it so that the initial cast of Falling Sword can't be interrupted. That's what it kind of says to me. I don't know.
Just easier to get off.
Yeah, easier to get off.
I never took it enough to have that issue, so shrug. But it's good that you don't have that issue now. It's a buff.
Yeah. It's a little buff. Okay, so definitely go check out PTR if you can. If you can't find a quick match, you can always play versus AI. And check out Blaze and Try mode. And remember, there's always a quest on PTR. If you do 3 games, even if they're AI games, you can get gems, enough gems to buy the new hero and try them out. So check that out if you can, and the new Malfurion update. Let us know what you think. So I wanted to take just a little bit of time to kind of do a little postmortem on the 2018 gameplay update. And so we've had it for a few weeks now. We've been starting to see a lot of comments rolling in on how games since the update feel like they've been on average going faster, and are becoming a little more snowbally. And so someone actually posted on Reddit, Mirror. I'm sure I butchered that completely.
No, you totally nailed it.
Yep, totally nailed it.
Yeah.
Actually posted on Reddit a thread saying average game length has been reduced by almost 2 minutes since the gameplay update, and had the statistical stuff from HOTS logs and such. And Blizz Travis actually came in and responded to that and said game times are running a bit faster than we'd like now, particularly in the high MMR bands. There are some tuning changes coming soon to help out with that. And so apparently even Blizzard is seeing games going a little too fast on their end.
Well, he goes on to say that the shorter game times are largely driven by the strength of a push, particularly with mercenaries. So, we'd been talking about how that's kind of the deal now. Get a really good mercenary camp and push with it. Even he's admitting it's a bit too strong now. So if there's changes coming, I'm guessing it's to that. First, anyway.
Yeah, and I actually posted on Twitter a little earlier this week my frustration with the new night camp. I was playing a game of Tomb of the Spider Queen, and the enemy, of course, synced up the capture of the night camp with the first Webweaver phase, which is a very good idea, because if you didn't know, the mage in the night camp provides a spell armor aura, a 30 spell armor aura. This is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you push with that camp and the Webweaver down the middle with all 5 people, and the enemy team does not or cannot kill that mage, they literally death pushed us with that in 5 or 6 minutes. And there was absolutely nothing we could do about it. Partially because either people didn't know about the mage or couldn't get to the mage.
Couldn't reach it. Yeah, I could see that.
And so
with the proper setup.
And it is definitely a little frustrating, because for one, I do think there are several people who don't have any idea that this change happened for the mage. Because he's got that little aura around him, but the effects for the spell shield are next to nothing. They are very, very difficult to see. And they
if I didn't know any better,
there's no indicator in the next to your thing, like with real full armor, to show that you have any armor at all, or even what amount of armor it's providing. Even that there is a tiny little spell effect that you notice, there's nothing saying what it's giving.
Yep.
And so
that's something that needs to be changed for sure.
Yeah,
because if I didn't know any better, I'd see that
we
circle.
We need to be able to see that in game and realize, oh crap, that is spell armor, and that's 30 of it. That is a really freaking big deal.
Yeah, especially if you are trying to defend against one of those pushes and you're a spellcaster. You need to know that.
I was leaming that game, and it was incredibly frustrating.
Oh, that's rough, because you can't even target.
Nope.
I mean, unless you
literally
ult
I
it
could
with
do
disintegration
literally
feed.
nothing. And we weren't level 10 yet. And so, yeah, that Tomb of the Spider Queen definitely exacerbates the issue for sure, just because of the mechanic and how it is, and with that middle lane. But that is definitely a comment on just from the 2018 gameplay update that I've seen. I don't miss ammo, and I don't miss that other tower at all. Like I haven't hardly even thought about that.
Oh, I haven't even noticed almost.
Yeah. But games do feel in a lot of cases a little more snowbally. Like it is, people, especially if they have a specialist heavy team, they get early building grabs, really can rack up a big lead that makes it extremely hard to come back.
Yeah. And fast games I'm okay with. Like when this was initially brought up in the thread, they were just talking about game length. I'm kind of okay with that at times. I do love games where you win a really crucial team fight and you just say, all right, guys, go, and then it's this awesome push. The enemy team comes up just in time to fight you off a little bit, but you just barely take the core down. Like, that's awesome. I want more games like that. But where I draw the line, though, is definitely the snowballiness. Like, if any of these changes up just the snowball factor, that does take away a little bit of the fun. Like, if you're 6-7 minutes in the game, or 5 maybe in your case, and you just know you've lost, like, even if you just have a
That's
keep
not
down
good.
at that point, that's huge. Especially on like if they hadn't death pushed you and they had just gotten the keep, that still would have been devastating, you know?
Oh yeah, because
So
now you're having to deal with catapult minions from minute 6
right, for the rest of the game.
for the rest of
So
the game. That's absolutely huge. So
mhm.
yeah, it's that the mercenaries feeling extremely strong is too strong in some cases is definitely something I would say. And indicators, I need to be able to see what all these things do from the UI. Like, at least with the I'm forgetting the unit name. It's the StarCraft one with the flamethrowers.
The fire bats,
Are they fire bats?
maybe.
I
I
don't
seem to
know.
think so.
It's on the tip of my tongue somewhere. You know what I'm talking about. It's
Chad, help us out. Pretty sure
yeah,
it's fire bats. Anyway,
whatever it is. Those units actually have very good indicators of the -5, -10, -15, -20, and so on armor that they're
mhm.
pulling from you as they hit you. It's like, oh crap, standing in flame is bad unless you're blaze, and then as long as you stand in your flame, it's good. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, there definitely needs to be some sort of update for the spell armor indicator other than just a circle, because even if you know it's spell armor, you have no idea how much it is.
Yeah. Tip on Blaze while we're at it, though. Don't just stand in any flame. I mean, he is not Daenerys Targaryen, okay? This guy cannot handle, think like Kael'thas flame strikes and that sort of thing. PSA, I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's it's only certain flames. Yeah, that fire bats. We'll just say they're fire bats.
Yeah.
It's weird because my brain didn't want me to say fire bats because we're actually getting a fire bat now, and so now
Right.
we'd have like fire bat hero and fire bat mercenaries, which a mastered fire bat.
I'll say this though,
Much cooler fire
the
bat.
animation on the hero, much cooler than that on the mercenaries.
Very
Throwing
true.
that out there.
Very true. And also, the flame effects on Blaze are
Oh yeah.
absolutely freaking incredible. It looks so good. Like when you light your oil slick on fire, it's just
Yeah, it looks really
it
good.
is a very good looking hero all around. I really like it a lot. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's jump over to HGC. So this week we had some really interesting HGC news with some announcements by Team Expert and Roll20. And so before we discussed any of them, I actually got to talk with Trent Esports, and he's a freelance esports writer. He does a lot of hero stuff. He is one of the writers on Heroes Hearth, and he was able to explain the situation a little more and go a little more in depth into HGC. And I know a lot of people are not quite sure what has changed in this 2018 season. So especially if you're really interested in HGC, this interview will hopefully be pretty enlightening for you guys on what the goings on and what all has changed pretty massively in a lot of ways from the 2017 season. So I'll play that for you, and then we'll discuss it just a little bit afterwards. So enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to HGC Talk. This is TBK, and I am here with Trent, who is a writer, esports consultant, and blogger at Heroes Hearth. Good old Heroes Hearth. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining and coming on to shed some light about some of the new stuff for HGC this season.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to set this up. It's definitely some interesting things that I feel like not a lot of people fully understand, so I'm excited to be able to help educate your listeners on business side things for the HGC.
Yeah, and that stuff is really kind of intriguing to me, and like you said, there's not there's not necessarily a ton of official information, at least not easily accessible. So anything that can help in that regard is good. But before we jump in real fast, I know I gave the like brief intro. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for the hot scene?
Yeah, definitely. So I got my start in esports actually writing for Riot Games. I covered the LCS for 2 years as a journalist. And then when HOTS was in beta, my wife got me access to the beta for Valentine's Day because I have the best wife ever.
Sounds
And
amazing.
oh yeah, it's basically the best. And so I fell in love with the game, wanted to commit to it, and I started out as a coach for some amateur teams, wrote for Gosu Gamers for a little while, and then have been kind of doing the freelance thing for a while, doing stuff on my own blog and on Heroes Hearth, just kind of breaking down how the business side of esports works, how sponsors and ownership and things like that function, and then doing just recaps and things for big tournaments.
Awesome. That's great. So let's dive right in here to our topic then. Can you explain to our listeners how the HGC 2018 season works now in regards to teams and how that's differing from last year?
Sure. So the way that ownership worked in the HGC in 2017, when the HGC started, was that every team spot was owned by essentially a majority of the players. So if 3 players stayed together, then that organization kept the spot. So we saw, like with B Step, when their team lost 4 members, B Step as an organization lost that spot, and it was given to a brand new roster and a brand new organization, rather than McIntyre getting to keep the spot by himself and form a new team. So Blizzard has changed that rule going into the 2018 season, where now there are, starting with the midseason brawl, when the free agent period happens, there will be no more roster restrictions where you have to keep a certain number of the same roster, and instead the spot will be owned by an organization that has been designated by the players at the start of the season. So basically every free agent team and every team that's signed by a small organization has declared a company, a person, their brother, something as the owner of that spot, and that owner will remain the owner regardless of roster changes unless that team gets relegated. The one wrinkle in that is that Blizzard went ahead and automatically gave ownership to some of the legacy organizations that have been in Heroes for a while: Dignitas, Fnatic, Liquid, Gale Force, and Tempo. And they also gave that to Team Freedom. So those players did not have to declare those organizations as the owner of their spot. That ownership was just given to those organizations as a kind of grandfathering process when these new rules came into place.
Interesting. So does that mean that the only way an org could lose its spot is if the org's team falls out in the Crucible?
Yes, unless the organization does something really gross that Blizzard decides to remove them. Like if we find out that Dignitas has never paid a player once in the last 3 years, they'd probably get removed for bad behavior. But outside of some kind of rules infraction, the only way for an organization to leave the HGC is to either sell their spot to another organization or to get relegated through the Crucible.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. So kind of moving on from there then, can you explain how the situation with Roll20 and Expert Esports came about? Because these were both fairly exciting, especially in the case of Roll20. They had so much momentum behind them. They were really playing up the players, which is a great thing. Expert did very well this last season. So how did all this weirdness come about where these sponsors now just drop these teams?
So both situations are a little bit different, and I do want to kind of clarify the difference between the sponsor dropping and the players deciding not to re-sign, because I think there's an important distinction there that a lot of people are missing. Basically what happened was Roll20 and Expert are both very, very small esports organizations. Roll20 has never had an esports division before Heroes of the Storm. Expert has a couple of other teams, but they are also a very small, very new esports organization. And both of those teams did very, very well in the last season of the HGC, like you said. But those organizations were not grandfathered into the 2018 HGC, so the players would have had to effectively sign away control of their spot to the organization for the organization to continue sponsoring them. And so because these two teams did very well, they have the potential to trade up to more established esports organizations that in theory could pay them a larger salary, have better social media presence, help them with getting Twitch partnerships, that sort of thing. And so what ended up happening with the players with Roll20 is since they found out about this before BlizzCon, have been trying desperately to create some sort of new contract with Roll20 that allowed Roll20 to still sponsor them while not giving away ownership. But Roll20 was not interested in doing any sort of deal that didn't include them eventually owning the spot, which makes perfect sense from Roll20's side. Sure. So the players and the organization effectively just couldn't find a scenario that made sense as a result of these new rule changes. Had the rule change not come into place, most likely we would have seen Justin and Goku and those guys still playing as Roll20 in the 2018 season. Expert is a little bit different because they made this decision at this time because the rule change was in place. But basically, I talked to Athero, and he just said they kind of wanted to explore their options. You know, they don't really know how much their team is worth right now because they were the second best European team at BlizzCon. They're worth a whole lot more than they were when Expert signed them. And so for them to be able to go into the next season, see how well they can perform, and be able to potentially attract other organizations, they had to leave Expert now because otherwise they would have had to give Expert control of that spot, and then the players would have no ability to negotiate with new sponsors 6 months from now.
I gotcha. So with the old Expert and Roll20 now, I assume we may see some sponsors come on like midway through, part of the way through. I assume they are having to form like some LLCs or something in the meantime to have that org, quote unquote, be their spot.
Right. So the way that it works, I haven't confirmed exactly with Expert how they're doing their incorporation, but I know Justin has confirmed that they created a Team 12 LLC, effectively just a corporation in paper only, and then the spot and all the revenue from the spot is owned equally by all the players and their manager Yitboss. So they will distribute evenly any prize money, any HGC cheer programs that come about, any brand deals, any sponsorships that they're able to create, and eventually the buyout of that spot by a new sponsor will be distributed evenly among all the players.
Okay, I gotcha. So just kind of taking all that in, what do you think we can expect going forward? Like, why is it important that all these teams do have actual sponsors, and why is it? And I don't know if why is the best word. Maybe is it good for the future of HGC, this whole new structure in that orgs own slots instead of teams of players?
So there's a couple of different takes on that, and we could do an entire hour and a half on is it a good change for the HGC, because there's a lot of people that feel very strongly that it's not. And I definitely understand that position, especially because there's been such a history in the HGC of teams like King of Blades, Naventic, Playing Ducks, treating their players poorly, not paying them properly, and people are afraid that now that organizations have that control, they effectively can do that with no consequences.
But as a part of this new structure, not to cut you off real fast, but just as a question, as part of this new structure, I would assume that Blizzard will be taking much more responsibility in making sure these esports orgs are doing what they say they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly, and I think that's one part that a lot of people are missing that's really important is before the only agreement with an organization was between the players and the organization. So Niantic had no contract with Blizzard. They had a contract with the players to represent them and to sponsor them and to pay them, but they had no actual direct relationship with Blizzard where Blizzard had any authority to enforce their contract with the players.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
because this spot is owned by the organization has to form that agreement and that partnership with Blizzard. So now Blizzard has a direct line with the organization to hold them accountable. So if there is bad behavior, if there are shady histories, an example I've given in the past is if the guy that runs King of Blades was able to trick the players on Old Gods into convincing them that he's changed, that he has $1 billion now, and he's going to pay them all $5,000 a month, so they should sign with the new King of Blades. Blizzard now has the ability, because they are setting an agreement for the spot with that owner of King of Blades to say, no, you've misrepresented Heroes of the Storm in the past. You are not a good look for this league. We're going to block that sale and not allow you, Steve King of Blades, to own an HGC spot. So there's an ability for Blizzard to kind of protect the players from themselves to a degree. Weird stuff always happens in esports. There's always an inherent risk when you bring in an esports organization. But the other part that I wanted to get to is the reason this change had to happen for the league, regardless of whether it's better for the players or not, is because sponsoring an HGC team was not attractive to major esports organizations with the old model. Relegation is something that's terrifying to esports organizations, and no matter what, the HGC is going to have relegation because it's just not practical not to right now. And as a result, combining not having relegation with being hamstrung to only ever being allowed to make 3 roster changes, that combination makes Heroes of the Storm really unattractive to any esports organization that has any knowledge about how to run a MOBA team. So this new ownership style is going to make veteran MOBA sponsors much more interested in investing in a Heroes of the Storm team because their investment is much more secure and they can make smarter decisions and long-term decisions more effectively in this new structure.
Okay, that makes sense. So do you think, because like Milkfat has said before, he's head of the HGC esports stuff right now. He said before that the goal for 2018 is to get every team sponsored of the major regions at the very least. Do you see all these new tools for 2018? Do you think there'll be enough to allow them to keep that promise?
That ultimately is going to come down to players like Justin and Athero and these guys that are on valuable teams deciding what they're willing to sacrifice. Right now, I know that the teams don't have anything lined up right this second as of recording, but they are in talks. So it's going to depend on, are there organizations that are big enough that it's worth signing with them and giving away that control that are also interested in Heroes of the Storm. And so what I think is going to happen is that for the next few months, we won't see any big signings unless it's a smaller team getting picked up by a very small organization. It's like if you're leftovers, you have no capital in the HGC right now. It's unlikely that you're suddenly going to be first place in EU in week 2. So if someone comes to you and offers you a salary and they're not shady, you kind of have to go ahead and sign with them because you really don't have any other prospects. But for a team like Expert, it might make more sense to play the field up through mid-season brawl, kind of get some bids from different sources, find out what the value of your spot is, and then sign with whatever organization is at that level where the market dictates the value of your spot. So most likely we're going to see Team 12 and Expert find out the value of their spot and then eventually come to an agreement with a team and an organization that fits that value. But right now they have no idea what the value of their spot is, so it doesn't make sense to sign with someone unless Immortals comes knocking on your door, which is unlikely.
Sure. And this is mostly just kind of an after effect of this, I guess we can call it a transitionary season, where we're switching to a new model. There's some of this weird grandfathering going on, and then I would assume once this is kind of straightened out, then as we look forward to future seasons, the only time we would see something like this would be for potentially relegation if a sponsored team fell out. Then I assume a new team coming in would have a chance to either be picked up by that sponsor or take their own sponsor.
So what would happen in that case? It's unlikely if Dignitas got relegated, most likely they would leave Heroes of the Storm, because to move from being a strong team to being a relegated team means a lot of things went wrong. So if something like that happens, most likely we would see that sponsor vacate the scene. But if, let's say, Space Station gets relegated this season, they might go ahead and pick up the team that replaces them because they are a slightly smaller org that's building capital through Heroes of the Storm and would benefit from staying in the scene. But most likely what will start happening is that open division teams will start to build relationships with sponsors as a potential agreement if they get into the HGC. So you might have something like Bushido Esports say, okay, we're going to let you guys use our name and our social media presence for while you're in the open division, and then if you get into the HGC, we're going to go ahead and sign this contract with you that you're going to give us ownership of that spot, and then we're going to officially sponsor you and give you a salary.
So kind of like the Heroes Hearth scenario.
Exactly. So what happened with Heroes Hearth is they qualified before this change went into place, and so they actually owned their spot, the players did, and then Heroes Hearth created new contracts with the players that said, okay, we're going to pay you this much, and we're also going to acquire ownership of that spot.
Okay, and so that would be an example of one that did go through, whereas the Roll21 was an example of something that could have happened like that, but it didn't go through.
Exactly, and the major difference there is success in the HGC. The only reason that the Roll20 thing happened is because Roll20 is the best team in North America. If they were in 6th place, they would have kept Roll20 and it wouldn't have even been a conversation. So like you said, this situation, it seems really scary because the optics of it are 2 sponsors left Heroes of the Storm. That's not really what happened. It's kind of a result of Blizzard not future-proofing the HGC when they first created it. Like when the LCS was created in Season 3 of League of Legends, this was already in place. Before any team qualified for the LCS in the first year, they had to establish a brand, they had to incorporate, they had to register someone who was responsible for collecting payment and making roster changes. All of that stuff was already in place. Whereas Blizzard chose with the HGC to give the players more power, which was great at the time because so few teams were signed, but it gave us this unfortunate circumstance where we have, like you said, this transitional year where it's going to take some time before every team is sponsored, and then going into 2019, if Blizzard is successful in getting every team sponsored, which I think they will by the end of the year, then in 2019 this isn't even a conversation anymore.
Okay, I gotcha. So just before we wrap things up, do you think we'll see Expert and Roll20 come back into the scene? I know, like I said, especially in the case of Roll20, they had a lot of fan favorite stuff. They did very well marketing themselves. Do you see them coming back in?
I expect we won't see anything until mid-season Brawl for 2 reasons. One, teams, we need to see which teams are on top and which teams are not, because if Roll20 if the now Team 12 bottoms out and gets relegated, nobody's going to care about sponsoring them. If Old Gods get to the top of the heap, they might attract different sponsor interest. And alongside that, we need to see what the viewership numbers are like to determine what the actual value of a Heroes of the Storm team is. So most likely what we'll see is Roll20 and Expert keep a close eye on Heroes, and then potentially come back towards the midseason brawl if they like the numbers and if the agreement with a team makes sense, because there's no rule saying that an organization that leaves the scene can't return. And like you said, the guys at Roll20 are really passionate about Heroes of the Storm. They loved owning their team. They wanted to keep their team. They had no interest in leaving the scene. It was just because of this rule change. So if they find a way that it makes sense to come back, then I see no reason that they wouldn't. We just have to wait and see what the numbers look like.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you coming on. That's really helpful in clarifying quite a bit of stuff. HGC is looking really good for the coming season. They've made a lot of really good changes. There's some really cool new stuff for the clashes. They're bringing back the cheer program, which seemed to be pretty successful at the midpoint, I believe, of this year. So a lot to get excited about. The website is looking better than it ever has. We just need some player profiles now. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Are you really looking forward to this HGC season? You liking what you're seeing?
I'm beyond excited for the HGC. I think this news made people feel a little bad, but honestly for me, I've never been more excited. I think a lot of the changes that Blizzard is making are moving the league forward, making it seem more professional, allowing it to be more attractive to sponsors down the road. The teams look amazing. There's some really interesting storylines that are coming into the season, and there's just so many question marks that we're not going to know until the games get played. So I can't wait for it to start.
Awesome. Why don't you tell people where they can find you if they want to check out more of your stuff or get more of this type of conversation in depth?
Absolutely, yeah. So I am available on Twitter at Trent_esports, and if you follow me there, you'll get access to every single blog that I ever write, every article that I do. You'll get to follow my journey as I learn how to play fighting games on a fight stick, because that's the new thing that I'm trying to do. And then I also want to plug my YouTube show, Entry Level Esports. The episode from this week, episode 5, was all about this. I did an hour-long Q&A live stream where players like Mopsio dropped by and helped clarify some things about ownership. So if you want to dive even deeper and talk about even more hypothetical scenarios about ownership and about sponsorship and these sorts of things, that is available on YouTube now as Entry Level Esports, episode 5.
Awesome. Well, Trent, thank you so much for coming on the show. And if you want, guys, go check out his stuff. All right. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
No, really cool.
It was a really good interview, and to be honest, it shed a lot of light on it for me. And
so yeah, for me too. Like
I mean, I'm double sound there for a second.
Yeah,
sorry,
I heard
guys.
That.
Woo!
Not a big deal. Yeah, we're back. No, seriously, thank you so much, Trent, for doing this, because I'm in the same boat. Like when this news first came out, I think you even said it in chat while we were just kind of hanging out there. It seemed like an oh crap thing when you first see it, and even he
it's
said
like
somewhere in the
Roll20.
interview.
Oh no. They
exactly.
were like one of my favorites. They had the coolest marketing. I'm a big D&D guy, and it's just like, oh no. I knew the owners of Roll20 loved Heroes. Right.
But I mean, to have him unpack it like that just shed so much more light onto it. Like I think even he said somewhere in the interview that that this change made some people feel bad, but the more you think about it, it's like, well, they're trying to strike a balance between extending an arm, an olive branch to the big orgs themselves, and then also giving the players themselves a hand in everything and choosing kind of how they go about their business dealings. So, I mean, obviously, his analysis of it was fantastic. So, thank you so much for doing that. I wish I could have been in on that interview, but good job.
This was super last minute.
Oh yeah,
This was super last minute, but I had the opportunity to get the interview, and I wanted to make sure we got it because I know the new way 2018 is set up is very confusing for a lot of people. A lot of people may not have known what was going on, that Blizzard is shifting to more of an org focus versus a team focus, which, like you said in the interview, I think will be good long term. But we're going to be in a weird spot this year because we're kind of in that half grandfathered thing for these orgs that have been around for almost the entirety of Heroes, and then a bunch of these new orgs as well that they're trying to strike contracts with. So it'll be interesting to see how it evolves, especially like we were talking about how when we get to the mid-season brawl, if we see more sponsors jump on, because I know, like they said, they're going to be trying their best to get every team from at least the major regions sponsored, and they're trying to set it up to where orgs can feel more comfortable about jumping in and actually supporting the HGC rather than they could just get dropped on a whim. So I really like how the whole setup's going. So definitely go check out his stuff if you want to find more. If you have any more questions about this or for us or any comments, be sure to drop us an email or hit us up on Twitter or Discord, and we can try and answer those next show. Also, today, the Heroes Esports Twitter released the HGC 2018 Phase 1 map pool. And surprise, surprise, it looks really similar to last year's, with one major difference. So we have Battlefield of Eternity, Braxis, Cursed Hollow, Dragonshire, Infernal Shrine, Sky Temple, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and Towers of Doom, all before. But now, instead of Warhead, we have Volskaya.
Yes.
So I'm actually really excited by this one because I like Volskaya quite a bit. Mech notwithstanding, it could use a little power boost, but they have, I think we mentioned it on a previous show, they have said they are looking into some small buffs to the mech. So we might actually see that in the next balance update or the next game update that Travis was talking about when they're going to do the tweaks from the 2018 gameplay.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I mean the mecha side, I just want to see a lot of games on the conveyor belts. So there you go. I'm excited.
Yeah, the conveyor belts are such an interesting mechanic.
They truly are.
They really are.
I'm a fan.
I'm excited. Also, just HGC in general, it's starting back up January 19th, week 1 of the league. So we don't have too much longer to wait. So I am super, super excited. I believe it's going to take place on, and I don't know if they've announced it officially or not yet. So this is just me speculating, but I'm guessing the Hanzo balance patch is probably what it's going to be.
Probably, and then with Hanzo enabled, I imagine.
Yes, we'll see several new heroes. We'll see Junkrat, we'll see Alexstrasza, and we'll probably see Hanzo. So there's going to be 3 new heroes in competitive that have never been allowed in competitive before.
Well,
plus
2.5.
the 2018 gameplay updates.
I'm kidding. Junkrat could actually be pretty sweet.
Oh, yes.
Displacement, you never know.
You never know.
There could be some plays.
I don't think he'll see regular play, but I think he will see perhaps pocket pick play.
There's got to be a pocket strategy there. Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. He's tons of fun. So Friday, January 19th, and it's 4 p.m. starts 4 p.m. Central Time on Friday. So I'm just looking at all the schedule. Old Gods versus Gale Force, and looking for more esports versus Space Station Gaming. Will be rounding out our first day on Saturday the 20th. Space Station Gaming will be taking on Old Gods, and Tempo Storm will be playing Heroes Hearth, which is probably one of the biggest matches.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm hyped for
of the weekend for sure. Gale Force will be taking on Team Freedom on Sunday.
That one's big too, though.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one. And then Roll20, now Team 12, they haven't got that updated on the site quite yet. They will be taking on Looking for More Esports on Sunday. Oh yeah, the Tempo Storm Heroes Hearth one is one I'm going to try and catch live. I've definitely got my eye on that one.
Yeah, Saturday night, that's doable.
Really good.
I don't have any plans, but that's the 20th.
Yeah.
I don't plan that far ahead.
And
sure.
That's the nice thing is the entire schedule. I could go to the HGC site, all 5 of the regular season, and then all 5 of the regular season after the Western and Eastern Clash, and all the schedules are up.
So is that new?
So nice. No, I mean they had it before. But it's just nice that it's saying it's so nice.
Yeah.
It's like your football, your baseball season. You know exactly who's going to play who. Right. So you can, and that's the nice thing about HGC. You can pick your team or your players, whatever you want to follow, and then you can find what days they play, and you can schedule your time to watch that.
Just like real sports.
Just like real sports. It's super, super nice.
Some of these dates look like they're so far in the future, though. April? Oh, that's an eternity from now. Anyway.
Yeah. So
just saying.
I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a really fun. I need my HGC back.
Gotta get your fix.
I gotta get my fix. It feels it's really not been that long, but it feels way longer than it actually has been since we've had Heroes.
Yep.
All right. HGC stuff. Get excited. Get pumped. Now, community content shout out. And this is in some ways Heroes related, but it's also being a better you related. Heroes of Fitness. We talked about them before. They are somewhat variety streamers. They play a lot of Heroes. Tim and Nicole, both absolutely awesome people. They are doing a Heroes of Fitness Get Fit 30-day challenge, and totally free to join. And he's sending emails daily with like updates and encouragement and stuff. And this is specifically targeted at gamers. This fitness program is specifically targeted at gamers and stuff you can do to get a little healthier. And so we'll have the link to that in the show notes if you want to join. Also go check out their stream. They do play a lot of Heroes during the week as well, and they're super entertaining, super fun to watch. They do exercise breaks in between like cues. It's another great time. Just if you're looking to, if he's like, I don't have time, sure, just drop down to a few push-ups, a few crunches or something during your cues or during the loading. You know, it takes from when you hit ready, you usually have at least a good minute or two.
Or do a full workout on your PTR queue time.
Exactly. If you want to get
PTR
super
shot
fit
for the day.
If you want to get super fit, play on the PTR.
Oh, I would be ripped on that. No, but seriously, and also they're just super nice people. Like we've had the pleasure to meet them, a couple of BlizzCons, a couple other things. It's super nice. I was one of the people who caught on to this a little bit after the fact. I saw some tweets about it yesterday on the 2nd, so I tweeted out. I was like, well, this really appeals to me, but I'm a day behind. Is that okay? And yeah, Nicole wrote back. She said, actually, there's another set of people that are going to actually start the whole routine effective next Monday, so the 8th.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to get in on that because there was the thing where you could try to catch up, but that's way too much exercise for me to catch up strength and aerobics in the same day. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's only 5 minutes too. They're like
but
little
two of them is 10 minutes.
Workouts.
2 of them is 10 minutes, dude.
I'm just saying, if even this is for even the beginner to start out. They're gonna have videos that show you how to do all the moves. They've got little things where if you want to do more, you can. But if you are kind of new, just getting into fitness, you want to start slow. They're little 5-minute segments.
Right, and it's super fantastic. Well laid out. Like you send them an email. They get you on the emailing list, and there's a PDF and a calendar that breaks it down. And it's laid out so nicely and in a way that's like logical in how you'd want to treat your body over the course of these weeks. I'm totally going to do it starting Monday. Yeah. For sure.
Do it. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I've been doing it this week. It's been good. I've been enjoying it. Okay. So, we do have several listener questions. we're not gonna get to them tonight because we have to have a shorter show. But we are going to get to a little bit of feedback because we had a lot of people write back to us skin ideas after the last episode. So, Multi, why don't you read some of them? We can talk about them for a little bit.
For sure. So the first ones are from Shorel. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Shorel. Either way, super sweet idea. And the jazz biker in me loves this. So, hey, Skins for Heroes, per the podcast. We need more biker skins. Points for making them look awesome with the bikes already in game. And Zarya needs a leather look. So, totally on board with you. I think I called out Ghoul Dan last week. Ghoul Dangerous. But, yeah, I mean, I'm down.
Yeah, biker gang. A 5-set biker
full
gang.
Team. Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
And it has to be, like, Gul'dan kind of makes sense. He even kind of already looks the part a little bit, the old grizzled biker. But we definitely have to have one on a hero where it makes no sense. I'm not sure who off the top of my head. Murky. Murky would be fine.
Murky biker?
Bikey.
Yes, I love it.
Anyway.
I love it. Besides, he rides the motorcycles hilariously. Because he's holding on with one hand and like
barely hanging
on. Yeah. No, I like it.
That's good.
Let's make it happen.
I like it. Yep. Okay, so next one, Ghost Bear has quite a few, including some holiday themed ones. So sports skins, Lacrosse Pro Leoric, which, by the way, he points out the defender stick can be up to 6 feet. So I could see that. Halloween, we've got Lockshock and Barrel for the Lost Vikings, and then Count Dracula Kael'thas. Now, when I read that one first, I was like, so it would just be Kael'thas but with fangs, right?
Essentially. Yeah, essentially. That would just be a Kael'thas with fangs. And maybe a slightly bigger back cloak thing.
Right, and that's it.
Just for dramatic effect.
I actually love that idea because Brightwing got some flack this past Halloween for just being a hat and some pigtails. And I think I proved that that's harder to come by than you would think. So to just have a skin where it's literally just teeth and an extra cape, I would love it. So anyway,
as chat said, with bats flying around him. You can have little bats instead of orbs.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then he turns into a bat as he mounts up and all that stuff.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
that's already in the game. Let's see here. So let's do Christmas. He says, Grinch or Yeti the Butcher?
Ooh.
The Grincher.
The Grincher.
I like it. And then
custom voice lines. Take presents.
Yeah, there you go.
Or he just yells out presents instead of fresh meat.
That's the only thing. And then you're chopping through presents instead of meat somehow.
You pick up presents instead of meat after you kill your enemies.
Or like tinsel.
Kill your enemies and like tinsel or presents or candy canes fall out. Very festive.
Yep. I'm down.
Festive deaths.
Okay, so as for a crossover skin, now I'll kind of push back on you on this one a little bit, Ghost Bear. Roadhog Stitches. Yes, it makes sense because they both have hooks. But my fear is that if they do that, it's going to be a sign that Roadhog himself is not coming to the game, which is kind of where I'm at with Widowmaker and Nova. So don't love that one. I mean, I like where your head's at. Totally makes sense. But it's kind of my thoughts there. And then lastly, definitely agree with this one, though. Can we get a Whimsyshire map? Yes, please. Yes, please. I feel like Whimsyshire wouldn't make any sense to just your standard layman. They'd be like, why is this map a child's drawing? And you'd have to kind of explain it, but who cares? Totally worth it.
Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's what we got from Ghost Bear. So the next ones are Naraki, who, yet again, broken out into categories here. So
Naraki, I give you points. You go full into everything when
he really
does.
You
comment. Yep.
No question.
Yeah, we got lots of stuff.
Yep. So and there's some really good ones in here. So let's see. We've got, for sports themes, Diablo as a Mexican wrestler / sumo / judo, etc. I like it. It makes sense. He's always been kind of a brawler anyway, throwing people over his shoulder and whatnot. So I dig it. And then this one was interesting. So he writes Butcher as the American football. So Naraki, maybe you can clarify on Discord. Do you mean that he's a football player, or that is he an actual football?
That'd be hilarious, like a football charging at you.
The latter is really great. I like that.
Yep.
It's this big leathery.
A football with a giant cleaver.
And it's the butcher. He's still got his arms and stuff coming out of it, but he's tearing out of this big football. I don't know. I like it. The next one, totally like this has to be a thing.
I love this.
Cho'Gall as a bowling duo.
Oh, that's so good.
So good.
It's so good.
You could have him have like a team shirt that's really like this bad Hawaiian shirt that they put a logo on haphazardly. Oh, you do so much with it.
Cho throws orbs. Like, that's the easiest translation into a bowling thing possible.
Yep, it could make the sound effect when you detonate it.
Yeah, the strike. Oh my
pins.
gosh.
Yep.
So good.
Yes, it is. So we got, all right, so Cassia as an Olympic spear thrower. Just kind of makes sense.
Yep.
And then Karazim as a boxer.
Yep.
Also
like
jives with me. And so, okay, for Christmas now, we're getting into Krampus Gul'dan, which I actually really like a lot. Do you know Krampus?
Yes. Yeah.
It's
I
actually
could see
a thing
Gul'dan
from
being Krampus.
I can see it. And then also Ice Lord Ragnaros, just for a little flip around.
Ragnaros needs more skins, anyways.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'd prefer milk, ice works too. Although iced milk, super gross, guys. Don't even try that.
We know you do.
What? Did I prefer milk?
We know you prefer the Ragnaro.
Ragnaros? Yes. All for it. But please, again, don't put ice in your milk. Okay. Then we've got his summer skins. We've got Lifeguard Johanna.
So all these come from portraits or sprays.
Right.
Which they need these. Like the Lifeguard Johanna, I think it was a spray.
Was it? Or was it
It was a spray or portrait. It was amazing. Like the shield being like the big surfboard, so good. Please make that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So what else we got? We got Grayfin Greymane, also like the portrait, and then Land Shark Tahaka, like the spray, and then also just a general Summer Nova.
Yeah, and
Is there
she
a portrait
had
or
a
spray based on that?
She had a spray.
Okay, yeah, all right. So yeah, that could happen. Let's see. And so here's, I love this first. Okay, next category, alternate universe skins.
Okay.
This first one is incredible. Lilydin.
Yeah.
Or Lily as Illidan.
Yep.
And then of course, or Lily as Gul'dan. But the Lilydin
just make Lily skins of every hero. Just why not? Just
that can be done. But I don't know why I love that in particular, because you get that voice actress to come back and do really cutesy versions of Illidan lines. And
you are not prepared.
That
was terrible.
No, she's trying to sound hardcore. She's like,
you are not prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love
stuff.
it. So, yep, all for. And she blinds people.
Yeah.
Illidan's blind.
Yeah.
Not really. He's got the spectral side.
All the correlation you need, really.
Yeah. I'm with it. What else we got? So, Arthas as a paladin. So, basically the skin in Hearthstone. Yeah, that's fine. Cyborg Hanzo. Again, can't disagree with robots. I think he's trying to. So he points out Cyborg Hanzo and then Human Genji. So, kind of a flip there.
Yeah.
I like that. And then we've got Sargeras possessed Medivh, which is really interesting, actually. The trick on that one is you've got to have it not be the one from the movie, because that was the worst part of the movie, by far.
Yeah, a little awkward.
When he that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, I liked it until here. Anyway, but I like the idea. Yeah. I think someday we need to have a discussion about Sargeras himself.
Probably
someday down the road.
I don't want to make a pretty fun hero.
I don't want to get too deep into it now, but there will come a time. Anyway. And then also an old god / Cthulhu Eye Probius.
There has been fan art for this already.
Yep.
And it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be totally down for that.
Yep, like that one quite a bit. And you could do stuff with the floor animations, tendrils coming up and all this stuff. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Other just general ideas are like Morales without her armor.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Raynor and Tychus, and she has a portrait apparently. Raynor, Li Ming, and Stitches as the band members that they appeared as in the HOTS original soundtrack with East TC.
Yes. I am so on board with that one.
Definitely cool. Let's see. Zul'jin missing an eye and an arm just like his raid in WoW. That's a hard one, because how does he throw both axes?
Yep, that'd be a little hard. Thematically, it's cool, but practically not super.
I mean, I don't mean to come off ableist, but I think it would be harder to throw axes from either arms if you only had one of them.
It's true.
Just throwing that out there. And then Batman and Robin Rexar, or better yet, Man Bear Pig Rexar.
Why not?
I love it. And then Human Material, which I mean, sure. It's he's just a dude. It happens in Diablo 3. Spoiler alert if you haven't played that far.
It's true.
In Act 1. And then Corgi Rhaegar.
Okay, let's just say that if Blizzard made a Corgi Rhaegar skin, they would literally become the most valuable company on Earth.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, the stocks would just shoot up.
Yeah. Just if they threw that out there and made that a gem only skin, they'd make that so much money. Don't do it, Blizzard. Don't listen to me. Don't become the most valuable company on Earth. And if it means we can't craft it with shards.
No, but seriously, so one thing on that. If you see a developer update video where they've got Corgi Rhaegar coming up, just Blizzard right then. That day, because it's going to shoot up. I'm with you on this one. I'm with you.
That's true.
Also, I find it, I was going to point out, this is totally one they would do because, as I understand it, and I've not visited yet myself, but the Blizzard campus apparently is really pet-friendly.
Yes,
and I
Blizzard
thought I read
campus
somewhere
is very pet-friendly.
I thought I read somewhere that corgis were totally a thing there as well.
Yep,
it's true. It's like the pet in WoW and stuff, so it's possible.
I wish I could bring my dog to work. I don't have a dog, but if I did, I wish I could bring it to work.
I'm glad I can't because mine is a demon. Other than that, okay. So that was all.
Naraki,
all of that was Naraki. So thank you. Then we got just a little bit more. Let's see. Who was it? Oh man, I'm not.
All right, you got this.
This one.
I believe in you.
Fuckbupog.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Fuckbupog.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to say it really fast like that?
Sure.
Fuckbupog. It's Fokbupog.
It is.
So I love it.
Quite the tongue twister.
I do love it. Anyway, summer camp counselor Ariel, she would say things like, "There's always hope for popcorn necklaces, and instead of a crown, you'd get a stick with marshmallows above your head."
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm buying what you're selling.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of s'mores, you could totally do a s'mores themed blaze somehow.
Yeah.
There's thought.
Campfire blaze. He's literally the campfire.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Well, awesome. We appreciate all you guys sending in those skin ideas. There's some really, really good ones in there. So
yeah,
Blizzard,
for sure.
Blizzard, take note. There's some awesome skins in there. Well, guys, like I said, we've got a few more questions, but we will be hitting those all up next week. So that about wraps our episode up. Multi, why don't you tell everybody where we can be reached?
Well, we can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or we've got our Discord, which is sticking to the top of our Twitter at Lords of the Storm, but you can also find it. It's at bit.ly/lotsdiscord, so check that out. We also have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, where, again, we're live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. And hopefully Gizmo comes back next week, but we'll see. We've also got...
I don't know. I have no expectations right now.
Well, we got burned last week. We were like,
I know, we got
next week
super
for sure.
Burned. It's just like, oh yeah, first show of the year. We're all going to get the gang back together. Nope.
Yep, indeed. So anyway,
as long as he makes it for episode 150, because that is coming up pretty soon.
It kind of is.
It's kind of a big one.
It is. Having just done episode 100 of another show, though, I got to say, 100 is more exciting than 150 in its own way.
It's true, but 200 will be even more exciting than that.
Will be nuts, yes. Yep. So before we get there, though, you can email us with feedback or questions, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. I don't know if I mentioned it, but we've got a facebook.com/lordsofthestormpodcast. And if you want to help out the show, again, you don't have to do any of this, but we strongly appreciate it if you do. 5-star iTunes reviews are particularly helpful, actually more so than we tend to stress on these episodes. It actually is a means of reaching more listeners and just kind of building the community there too. So I don't know, I kind of want to just take one more extra second to highlight that, because it seems like every week I get here and I just kind of gloss it over and I say, all right, well, leave a good review or any review. But I mean, I'm serious, you guys. If you haven't taken the time, if you have access to iTunes, you listen to the show enough, and the Patreon doesn't appeal to you or whatever, but you still appreciate what we do. Again, I mean, those have a double, like, twofold meaning to us in terms of we're getting the feedback, but it's also genuinely helping out the show. So probably went too long on that explanation, but seriously helpful. And positive Stitcher helps too. But I did mention the Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where, again, it's just like anything else. You can, if you like what we do, if you want to toss us a couple coins our way, we will use them for ketchup packets.
Yep. Even just one coin.
Yeah, just one coin.
That's all we
Maybe
need.
actually a Bitcoin. What are those worth? Like 13,000 now? just one Bitcoin.
It's worth 13,000.
Sounds good.
It's worth 15,000. It's worth 11,000.
Just depending on what time you check your phone.
It just depends on when you check your phone.
Yeah.
You can also reach us individually. You can find Gizmo potentially. I don't know. He might be lost in another dimension. But if he's not, you can find him at Gizmozord on Twitter and twitch.tv/Gizmozord. You can also find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord. And then Multi.
Yeah. You can also find Gizmozord on the PTR. The universe in which he's stuck.
Stuck in the PTR.
You can play a few games and unlock enough gems to buy him. Yep. That's a fact.
That's true.
Let's see. I can be found on Twitter at Multizord. And like I said, I mean, I did it at the top of the show, but The Cavalry, it's a great podcast. It's about Overwatch. We've just celebrated the 100th episode. If you haven't really checked it out up until this point, you can go back and at least see kind of how ridiculous it's been in that episode alone. And it was a huge honor to join them yet again for that one. And I don't know, I've been a part of this show the whole time too, of course, and helped with its inception. But for some reason, The Cavalry still just feels like my baby in a way. Just because we, again, built it from the ground up too. So I just massive love to those guys and the work they continue to do. And yeah, they typically are live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. on twitch.tv/The Cavalry Show. And we actually ended up there this week because we tried to start at 7 and technical difficulties started us at like 7:40. But whatever. Anyway.
I love your explanations tonight.
Yeah.
It's this is probably the longest like post-show explanations.
I actually tried to rush the previous stuff so that I could drag this out. Like, that's why we didn't do it.
Yeah, that was totally worth it. Totally worth it. They have a special thank you to our Patreon producer, Zord, for helping support the show. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you to Trent for the interview. We will see you next week. Same Kale Bat time, same Kale Bat channel. Twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm. Yes, we do need to. It's Hellbats. The mercenaries.
They're
are
Hellbats.
They're Hellbats.
Yep, not.
And if somebody comes and says we got it wrong, then you didn't listen till the end of the episode.
And now we got proof.
Shame on you.
Boom.
Yep, it's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
All right.
What?
Oh.
I feel like you're laughing at me.
Oh, I am laughing at you a little bit.
Yeah. I've had a long day. And I'm in a good mood.
It was a very strong post show. I wonder what the percentage of people that actually listens to the entire thing once we start. Say
it's apparently super low. Like it's something that
it's like probably a normal podcast thing.
Yeah, Garrett Weinzierl said it on several of his TAC episodes. Like, because I do listen to the end. I don't know. Sometimes there's some little extra banter at the end or something like that. So on most of my shows, I do anyway. And but yeah, he's said several times where he was just like, "Oh, no one listens to all this stuff," and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, but I am."
Oh yeah. So it's like a little treat. It's like, that mistake we said earlier, we fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come and yell at us, we will say maybe you should listen to the whole podcast. Dang it.
Yep. And then if you stay to the very, very end, like after everything's done, as the people in chat have done right now, it's kind of like the end of the Marvel movies where, there's the credits go up, but then other stuff happens afterward.
It's true.
Teasers for future content. And I'll tell you, Gizmo's never coming back. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
He's gonna turn in his resignation between now and next week, and you're gonna feel terrible.
Oh, I would have jinxed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
Gosh. No, he should be back next week.
He should be. It would legitimately. It was a plane flight cancellation.
Flight cancellation, so he couldn't get back in time. So that really sucks.
I didn't know they did that late. I don't know.
Yeah, that was really sucky for sure.
Was it even weather?
I don't know. Like they were scared of snow in Florida or something. Apparently that was the thing. So canceled.
Well.
But yeah,
whatever.
we're really excited. Hopefully we'll have a really cool show for our 150th. That is coming out. What is this? The 4th? The 24th. 24th will be the 150th episode. That's super exciting.
Crazy.
It's a long time. That will be our 150th episode and our 3-year anniversary.
To the day? Or like to the week at least?
Yeah. Roughly our 3-year anniversary. I just wanted to... It just sounds a lot cooler when you do it like that together.
Sure, yeah.
Because that makes it an even bigger thing.
We'll push that.
But yeah, it's fairly close, and it's crazy. We've been doing this for 3 years. That is absolutely insane.
I know.
Doesn't feel like it.
No.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Agreed. And that's the thing, is it's not stopped being fun this entire time. That's the crazy part.
It's a good game.
I think that's what we need to really harp on that episode, is be like, look, we've enjoyed this the entire time, and genuinely the game itself.
We've been podcasting for 3 years, and we've been playing the game for like 3.5 years.
Right. So pretty cool.
Never stops being fun. All right, guys, we got to get this post showed and up on the feed for the people's audio peoples tomorrow. So we will catch you later. Thank you so much for watching live. Thank you, Wicked, for being an awesome mod. We appreciate you. Good night.
Good night.